Yeah, so the today's session, one second. Yeah. So basically, we are a Salesforce developer group Amravati, Salesforce developer group Mathura, and Salesforce admin group Nashik. So we are collaboratively presenting this knowledge sharing session. So today's speaker like Dikshit are going to share like Salesforce billing overview with CPQ. So like CPQ is like more very most important skill set and tool now in Salesforce ecosystem. So here are going to present like how the Salesforce billing works, okay, and you will get know about the how it's worked basically. Okay, so currently like I thanks all group leaders like Kumar Swami from Mathura group leader, Sonali from group community group leader Nashik admin group, Sankit is here, so community group leader Nashik, Manasvi. Uh, she is also group leader of Nashik admin group. Then Amit is here. He is a group leader Amravati developer group, and Shiom. So he's also group leader of Mathura. So thanks everyone, and thanks Dikshit for expecting like our as a guest speaker. So like about our speaker today's like he is a Salesforce developer at Fluido. He is a currently success Salesforce certified professional. He is also having good knowledge on Copado DevOps platform. Also, like he is also a DocuSign certified 2x. And previously, he also presented DocuSign sessions with our Salesforce developer group, and he's a CPQ and billing consultant. You can reach out to him if you have any questions related to Copado, DocuSign. He's always ready to help. So you can reach out to him on LinkedIn profile as well. So this is like our today's guest speaker. And like if you are talking about the today's session agenda, so we are like here are going to present the Salesforce object model of Salesforce billing. Okay, invoice generation with CPQ codes, invoice data flow, and the billing package settings and invoice. These are the we can say our today's session agenda for the today's knowledge sharing session. Okay, like Salesforce billing provides several ways to automate the subscription billing, your product billing cycles, milestone billing. So there are lots of let's say concepts and topics are there. So here are going to overview the complete in the next 1.5 hour. Okay. So this is like a today's session agenda, and thanks for all participants who like this is our weekend and like all are joined and so thanks to all participants and thanks Dikshit for like accepting the invite as a guest speakers. Okay, and now we can start. I will hand over to Dikshit. And if you have any questions in between, you can post on the chat. After the session, we will take it your all questions, and Dikshit will answers, and our group leaders will also answers your question. Okay, thanks. Dikshit, over to you, and you can start your screen sharing as well.
Am I audible?
Yes, Dikshit, for me it's audible.
Okay, let me share my screen.
Yeah.
Let me know if screen is visible. It's visible?
Yeah, it's visible for
Yes,
me.
Dikshit.
Yeah.
You can see the Salesforce billing slide, right?
Yeah, correct, Dikshit.
Yes.
Okay, okay. So yeah, first of all, yeah, thank you to everyone for joining, and thank you to all the group leaders for inviting me as a speaker. So I'll start the session. So today we are going to actually basically see like how invoices are getting generated in Salesforce billing and along with CPQ. Okay. So today's agenda is, of course, it's like every time you have any product in the Salesforce ecosystem, it's important to understand the object model, right? So first and most important thing is object model. Then we are going to see invoice generation, how it is happening in the like CPQ side and the billing side. Plus, like there are bit of package settings involved inside that as well, but I'm not sure like about like many package settings with respect to billing, but like we can see a couple of, but that will eventually help you in clearing your billing superbadge and advanced billing superbadge. Okay. Okay, so this is basically first object data model. So you know everything in Salesforce like starts from the lead. Uh, Once lead is getting converted into an opportunity, account, and contact, right? Opportunity is obviously an optional thing, but in Salesforce CPQ we have an opportunity. Then we create a quotation under side our opportunity. Okay, on inside the quotation we have products basically which gets transferred into the quote line, right? Once you order a quote, then Salesforce generates an order for you. Okay. Now always remember the quote is this quote is always a like it is a, like a normal sales cloud object as well, Salesforce object, but I'm talking about CPQ quote object, which comes from the CPQ manage package. But this order is always a Salesforce object. Okay. This is not a part of like a billing package, not a part of your CPQ package. It is like always a Salesforce object. Okay, so once you order a quote, your quote lines, basically the products, it will get transferred to your order products. Okay, now the thing is, till this part, order and order product, it is mainly a CPQ. And like in CPQ, we have contracts which you can generate either from like opportunity or an order. But if I talk about billing, entry point for billing is always an order. Okay, you can see multiple times is like there are third party systems which are involved in Salesforce, like some financial systems, or like for example NetSuite, right? That is an order fulfillment system, right? So for third party system, if someone wants to integrate billing, then they have to have this order like object in Salesforce, because it is the entry point to integrate third party systems with the Salesforce. Okay, now once you have an order, once order is activated, then there comes the billing. Billing is like responsible for generating your invoice, all the order products transferred into invoice lines. Okay, now basically what happens generally is like your billing, you can use billing package in different, like you can say requirements or like different ways. Generally business uses billing package only to generate invoices. They have different systems to like handle the payment stuff. But sometimes I have seen businesses, they usually use Salesforce billing just to generate invoice and handle the payments as well, like credit note or debit note inside the billing package. Because billing is like billing consists of two things actually. Basically one is like Salesforce, plus you have financial aspect as well. So if I go to the next slide, this, if you see this object model, these are the objects inside the billing, right? But except like products, if you see everything is related to like finance. Generally it is not expected you to have a deep knowledge of everything here, because it is like generally handled by finance. That's why I told you like uh, the organization
Hello, Dikshit. I think you are on mute, I guess. Hello.
yeah, just a second,
Yeah. Okay.
just wait for a minute, or let me change my network. I believe something is wrong. Now I'm audible.
Yes.
Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, my screen is visible, right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I was saying, like this object model basically refers to the finance system. But of course, if someone wants to integrate Salesforce with third-party systems or want to manage all the financial aspects inside Salesforce, then they need to understand this, ob like object model. So basically, in billing, we have two important things. First is this legal entity, then we have a finance book. Okay. Now, you have to have this legal entity and finance book, okay, in the system. That, like, this is the entry point where billing starts, like the configuration of billing basically starts. You have to create legal entities, you have to have the finance books in the system. Basically, finance books consist of two kinds of books. First is like a revenue book and another is like accounting book. Revenue book is responsible for basically, handling all the revenue transactions. Accounting book is basically responsible for handling every kind of transaction, whether it's a revenue, whether it's a credit note, whether it's a debit note, and everything. Okay. Now in Salesforce, we have couple of rules. You see this tax rule, billing rule, revenue recognition rule. These are basically objects inside Salesforce. Okay. You need to have these rules. Now, other thing is this is GL account. GL is like GL account or GL rule. Basically, this is general ledger. This is like not so important in terms of Salesforce. Generally, this is like handled by finance systems. Okay. I have never seen like people managing like general ledger rules inside the Salesforce. But if I talk about tax rule, billing rule, and revenue recognition rule, these are like in key aspects, like, in order to, you can say, generate an invoice or generate an revenue, or you can say calculate your taxes, right? Now we will see like everything one by one. Okay, I'll move to the next slide. Okay, now billing rule and treatment. If I go back, you see every rule has its treatment. Billing rule is directly like has a child of billing treatment. Revenue recognition rule is also having a treatment. Tax rule is tax treatment. Okay. Now tax, what does this treatment means? Treatments means like what you want to do, like what action you want to do. One rule can have multiple treatments. Okay, but if you have multiple treatments, right, then Salesforce billing picks up only the latest treatment you have created, right? And always remember, these treatments always link to a legal entity. You can have multiple legal entity in the system. Now, what does legal entity means? Legal entity is like a place or a region, right? Let's suppose if I talk about US, India, right? They are countries, right? Like if you want to calculate tax, like if you have different tax calculation for Nasik, right? So then there will be a legal entity as a Nasik, right? It's just like a place. There is nothing to be like configured on the legal entity side, is but everything revolves around legal entity. If you don't have legal entity, then your, even though your order generation will not be there. It's not about invoice generation, it's about order generation as well, right? If you have billing system, like billing package installed in your org, then you have to have these legal entity finance books, configured correctly. Okay. Now, billing rule is necessary for invoice lines. If you want to generate invoice in Salesforce billing, you must have a billing rule. Otherwise, you won't be able to generate invoice. Okay. Now, if you see my second line, which says order product, legal entity, billing treatment, finance books, and financial period. Okay. Now, this is the internal working of billing package. Okay. Once you have an order product in the system, what happens is billing package looked into the legal entity field of a order product. Okay. As I mentioned, legal entity is directly related to billing treatment, right? So billing package identifies what billing treatment billing package has to apply. Like how it identifies only on the basis of legal entity. Okay, so that's why I'm keep on saying like legal entity is the crucial factor in a billing, right? Then once on order product billing identifies a legal entity, then after legal entity, like you have done the configuration, like this billing treatment is referred to this billing entity. Billing package applies that treatment on that particular order product, and that is indirect, like directly related to a financial book. Like because everything whatever is happening inside your system, right, invoice is getting generated or revenue is getting generated, it is like getting tracked inside a financial period. Like if someone from finance wants to generate a report, right, so they should have a particular period, like in that period how much, like invoice are getting generated, or like how much revenue basically they got in like these financial periods, right? So now we have generate invoice, this is a field basically which controls the invoice generation of order products. Okay, let me go to the org and show you the things. Okay, I'm using Classic because it's easy to navigate in Classic, but I will show a couple of things in Lightning as well. I have already created this billing rule. Now you can see this is the generate invoice field. If it is no, and this rule is associated with the product, then your like order product, once you generate an invoice, you will not see any invoice getting generated. Okay, so this is the crucial field to generate an invoice. Like if someone says in your org invoice or invoice are not getting generated, this is the first step to debug. Okay, now this is the treatment record which I have created already, and you can see on a treatment I have a legal entity. Legal entity is US, right? And this is generated underside this billing rule, and we have a finance book as well. So these are the records which I have already created in order to save the time. If I go to the legal entity, okay, now this is the legal entity. You can see I haven't populated anything. It's just like the name. But
Dikshit,
yeah,
can you just like little bit zoom your screen, or like it will be a clear, more clear.
now it is good.
Again, little bit again.
Now,
Yeah, it's okay now. Yeah,
okay,
thanks.
okay. So what I was saying is legal entities, like you must have legal entity, but you can't see like any kind of a calculation here or something. It's just like the names, but it is a crucial object in the billing side. Okay, now if I go back here, now initial billing trigger, this there is a field, like it only has one value, which is order product activation date. So basically actual billing starts when actual billing starts, like when order is activated. If I talk about general aspects as well, like if order is activated, then only you will charge or someone, or like you will generate an invoice for that. Okay, partial period treatment, it has two values, which is separate and combined. I haven't seen like practical scenario. Generally, I have seen like it is always separate. But what does this mean is like combine means like basically it combines multiple invoices. Like if you have invoice one, invoice two, invoice three, right? So what will happen is when you are like going for the payment side, I believe, but it combines the amount of all the invoices. But I'm not like pretty sure like how exactly it works, because I haven't seen. But usually, like for the time being, you can treat it as like it is always a separate, like billing is happening on the like separate invoices, right? Okay, if I go back to the slides, now we have general ledger and treatment. Okay, as I talked with you earlier as well, like general ledger is mostly related to finance. You can't see people managing this object in the Salesforce side. Okay, it is a source of truth for generating financial statements, like financial reports we have. Generally, as it is written, generally maintained outside of Salesforce as part of accounting software or ERP system. So as a Salesforce people, we should have like basic idea. If we don't have like depth knowledge of this, so that is also completely fine, right? It contains all the financial like transactions, like whether it's related to your credit note, debit note, your revenue, your invoice, everything it contains. So basically, it has like two accounts, like one is credit account and a debit account, right? So if I go back, you can see this GL rule has GL treatment, and this is a GL account. So GL account basically has like two types. One is credit and one is debit. One is responsible for handling the credit transactions, and one is responsible for handling the debit transactions. Okay, now once you create the record for this GL account, you have to enter the account number, right? And that account number, which that will be given by your customer or a client. But that's the reason it generally doesn't like it is generally maintained outside of Salesforce. Okay. Now next we have revenue recognition and treatment. Revenue recognition means like how much revenue a company is generated like is getting generated based upon their invoices and payments. So like it also has the similar structure. We have a rule, we have a treatment, and treatment is again directly related to finance books, which is which has like finance periods, and then like the revenue transaction is getting logged inside that finance period. Okay. Now let me go to the org first. This is revenue recognition rule, right? So this will create revenue schedule. If you set this as no, then no revenue transaction is going to be generated inside Salesforce. So make sure it is always yes. Okay. Now we have treatment here. Now you see this is monthly recognition. So I want my business to recognize revenue every month. That's why I have written monthly recognition. Okay. Now its processing order is one. Always remember you can have multiple treatments inside of one rule. If multiple treatments are linked with same legal entity, then Salesforce billing will always pick the latest one you have created. If they are related to different entities, legal entities, then you don't need to worry because Salesforce billing always works on the basis of legal entity. Okay. Now, this is the processing order. You can see enter one if this revenue treatment should be processed before all other treatments. Two if it should be second one. Okay, this is the like execution order. Now there's a type. You can have type as percentage, and I believe so flat amount and reminder. Okay, I believe so. One of the I believe flat amount is not. I believe right now it's been right now deprecated by billing. I'm not sure, but I have read somewhere. And percentage is like how much percentage you want like this to be get recognized. So I have written as 100%, right? If I go back to my slide, you see client paid rupees like 1000, then 100% percentage given on the treatment level means 1000 is the total revenue calculated on net amount of order. Okay, so whatever percentage you gives here, it will like if you give 50%, then 50% of 1000 will be treated as revenue. But always remember there are two types of revenue, earned and deferred. Billing always like once you have revenue transaction, it will always be in deferred status. What does deferred means? Deferred means is like, let's suppose you are buying a product. Okay, someone tells you like you have 10 days, like within 10 days you can either replace this product or maybe you can return this product, right? So let's suppose you buy a product for 1000 rupees. So what they will do is they will add this 1000 rupees as deferred revenue, not earned revenue. But once that cancellation period or return period expires, then this deferred revenue get transferred into earned revenue. And that Salesforce billing, I believe so, it does automatically. We don't need to write any automation to make it like deferred to earn. Okay. Now, if I go back here, now there is a, in order to create this treatment, we have to have this method as well. Okay. Now this is like distribution method, how you want your revenue to get distributed. Okay, a couple of important fields are here is revenue transaction creation process. It will always be automatic. Okay, now type, what kind of record this revenue like treatment or revenue rule, like basically for what type of record revenue transactions get generated, like should generate, right? So that this is the field which controls. So I have set it as invoice. Okay, now distribution method, when you want, it's you want daily, you want monthly, you want full recognition. Okay, revenue schedule term start date, if you have selected as invoice, so it should be invoice line start date and invoice line end date. Okay, but if you select here as full recognition, then you have to add here as full recognition date. Full recognition means like complete, like there is no like partial thing. Okay. Uh, let's go. These are some key terms. As I mentioned, legal entity, region or a country on the basis of which different calculations like taxes, etc., is going to be calculated. Okay. As I said, financial books consist of two types: revenue and accounting books. Revenue books contains only revenue related transactions, while accounting involves all types of transactions. One thing for the taxes thing is like only standard taxes can be handled by billing, Salesforce billing. You cannot try create custom logic on the taxes inside billing. Like let's suppose we have countries like US and Canada. So they have taxation like based upon cities or based upon areas, right? So these kind of tax calculation you cannot handle inside billing. Like with the standard Salesforce billing, you need to have the integration tools like Avalara or Vertex. You need to have that integration established with Salesforce billing. Then you will see the accurate results. Okay. These are the key fields which are on product level. Like these are basically related to billing package. Okay. Open. Okay. This is the Salesforce billing configuration. Once you install this billing package, okay, one important thing related to package thing is, uh, now you see this Salesforce billing and Salesforce CPQ. So this is like Trailhead developer org. Okay, I haven't installed billing package. It's like pre-built. But if you see here, it always have expiration date. So always remember, billing will have expiration date. Like for 3 months, it is valid. But for CPQ and advance approvals, Salesforce has given like us an unlimited, right? It's like does not expire. Okay. Now, if I go back to the product record, once you have the billing package installed, you will see this section on product. Okay. Now, what does this section means is like billing rule, tax rule, revenue recognition rule. Like billing rule and revenue recognition rule, we already discussed, right? So these fields needs to be populated on a product record. If you don't have billing rule on a product record, you won't see any invoice, or maybe there is a chance you won't see an order as well. Okay. Now, charge type. Charge type basically has two values: one time or recurring. One time means you have to pay only once. Recurring means it's basically a subscription product. Okay. Usage means it's a consumption schedule product. Consumption schedule means is like whatever like uh, quantity, or maybe you can say unit of that product you consumes, you will be getting charged on the consumption basis. So basically this session is not the first session for Salesforce billing. I am planning further more sessions because there are a lot of areas. So I will be covering like couple of areas, like dedicated to only one, like one session dedicated to one area. Okay, so we will have like consumption schedule as well. Now, billing frequency. Billing frequency and billing type plays important role if I have this as a recurring. Okay, my product chart type is recurring. Okay. Now, billing frequency is how you want your invoice to be get generate on order level. Like you want monthly, you want quarterly, you want annual, right? Now, there is another field as billing type, advance and areas. Advance means when you want your invoice to be like in the system. Like do you want like before your order product, like order start date, or you want after? After means areas. Okay. Advance means like either it will be on your start date of order or it will be on before start date of order. Okay. Now this is one time product, that's why these fields are empty. So these fields doesn't play important role in terms of one time. It plays crucial role in terms of recurring product, because recurring is like subscription product. You may want to invoice your customer like every month, so you will set billing frequency as monthly. So like because subscription products generally you buy for like 2 years or 3 years, right? So that's why they are crucial for recurring products. Okay. If I go back, next we have key concepts. Okay. Now you need to understand these following date fields. Okay. Next billing date. It's on order product. Now, what does next billing date means? Next billing date is once you like want to generate an invoice, next time when should invoice get generated in the system? So that's how it is controlled with the next billing date. So like we have a, you know, like there is a way to calculate next billing date, which I'll be discussing in the next slide. Okay. Billing day of month. Billing day of month is present on order object. Always remember it has nothing to do with one time charge type products. It always have to like direct relation with recurring products. Okay. Billing day of month basically suggests like which day of month you want invoice to be generated. Okay. Invoice target date. Invoice target date and due date uh basically like interrelated with each other. If I talk about due date, there is a one field on a quote level payment terms. You will see the values at net 30, net 45, net 60, like that. Okay. Now, once your invoice is getting generated, due date means like the date before which you have to pay the invoice. Okay. Now, that how that's getting calculated is invoice date plus payment terms. Basically, like invoice start date plus payment terms. So payment terms, if I have net 30, so it will add 30 days. If I have net 60, billing will add net 60 days. Okay. One important thing to highlight here is if I go to the quote object, now you see this, it has only four values: net 15, net 30, net 45, net 60, net 90. 4 to 5 values are present. Let's suppose you added one new value, net 120. So billing won't understand your values. Okay. You need to have the automation to calculate the due date on the invoice. So you can have a lightning flow which will run on before creation of your invoice. And what you have to do is you have to just simply add the days, like 120 days. If your net like payment term is net 120, you just need to add 120 days invoice date. So it will simply calculate due date. Otherwise, you will see due date as blank every time. So billing only understood these like 5 to 6 values. Okay. I'm not sure what is the significance of this value due on receipt, because I haven't seen like uh, you know in the implementation side, since like I'm also new to billing, but like it's just like I got some basic idea of billing, but I don't have like that much kind of deep hands-on experience. Okay. Okay. So if I go ahead with these fields now, next billing date, how it is getting calculated. If your charge type is one time, it will always be order product start date. Okay. Now, now question is how order product start date is getting calculated. OST means order start date plus QST means quote start date minus quote line start date. Like the difference, the number of days you will get if you add that number of days inside order start date, you will have order product start date. Okay. And that will be your next billing date if your charge type is one time. If your charge type is recurring, then it depends upon a couple of factors, that is billing type, that is advance or arrears. Advance means either it will be on or before order product start date, or it can be after order product start date. Okay. I'll show you one article from the trial head. Okay. Uh, Now, if you see this table, we have order product A whose quote start date is 15th of March. There is no date on a quote line, but charge type is one time. As I said, for charge type one time, next billing date always be order product start date. since we don't have any start date on a quote line, so it is understood like it will be quote started. Okay, that's why you see next billing date as 15th of March. Now you see this column billing day of month. It does not play any role in case of one time. You see 10, 10, 10, like they want basically 10th should be the billing day of month, but the result is not like dependent upon this billing day of month. Okay. In the next, if you have a B product, quote start date is again 15th of March. Quote line start date is 21st of March, right? Now, if quote line start date is 21st of March, then you will have order product start date as 21st of March, right? Now, in case of one time, as I said, it will be always order product start date. So that's why it is 21st of March. Okay. Now, next is 15th of March and 9th of March, right? What's the difference between these 2 days is like 6 days, right? Now 6 days, and that's how our formula will work. Okay. Uh, Wait a second. Order start date. Good, start date. Order product, it will, I believe, order in case of order product start date, it will always be 15. That's why you see that next billing is 15th of March. If I talk about recurring charge type, in case of recurring, these two fields will play important role. These three actually basically combined. Okay. Now, you said this billing day of month is 10th. You want it to be happen monthly. You want this to be happen in advance. Okay. My quote start date is 15th of March. Okay. Now 15th of March, but what is the billing day of month? This is 10. If it is advance, now what will be the date before this? 10th of March. Okay. That's why you see next billing date as 10th of March. Okay. Now, if I talk about areas, in case of areas, you will see it is monthly. Billing day of month is 10. The product type is recurring. Quote start date is 15th of March. Now, since it is areas, so the next, it won't be in advance, it will be later. So later means to say the next month because it is monthly. So that's how you have that 10th of April. Okay. So this is how like next billing date is getting calculated inside Salesforce. Okay. If I go ahead, invoice generation, basically you can generate invoice in Salesforce billing with two ways. One is bill now and another is invoice schedulers. Bill now is basically a checkbox. You just need to check that checkbox. You will have the invoice. But generally organization doesn't use this bill now. Okay, because there is a limitation with bill now is you will have only one invoice at a time. Okay. Invoice schedulers are basically like schedulable jobs. So once you configure that, like it can pick up multiple orders at a time to get invoice. Okay. Now always remember, one order can have multiple invoice. One invoice can have multiple order products. Okay. All the things depends upon this factor, next billing date. Okay. Now next billing date is always present on your order product object. So this is the crucial field in order to generate the invoice. Okay. Now next. Okay. So I'll show you one demo regarding this. Okay. Before that, I'll show you a couple of things from the CPQ side and billing side. In Salesforce, it is not mandatory to have an opportunity in order to generate an order. Okay, you can always generate an order from a quote. Okay, but there is a setting. I can quickly check. Just you can see create orders without opportunities, right? If you check, this is the new setting in the CPQ side. If you check this checkbox, you can simply directly generate a quote and you can have the orders as well. Okay. Now, if you see this as well, default order started. Once you have the order, like one system is about to generate an order, you can configure like what should be the order start date. Either it is quote start date or it is today, the day the order is getting generated. Okay. If I go to billing side, once you, maybe some of you have done the billing super batch, or like if you are going to do that billing super batch, there are a couple of settings which will be crucial in that. That is tax calculation is based on. Okay. So there is a statement in that billing super batch requirement. You need to understand that statement and you need to come here and you need to configure like on what basis you want your tax calculation should happen. Okay. So I have a plan to take on like one separate session on taxes. Okay. Like their object model, how you will create records and everything. So because it takes like a lot of things, so that won't be possible for me to cover in this session. So I will take, but just like kind of an overview, this setting plays a crucial role. Okay. Whatever you will select here, on the basis of that your tax is going to be calculated. Okay. Aligning billing day of months to order start date. Once your order is getting generated into the system, billing day of month is present. There is a field billing day of month which is present on order. You always have this setting as enabled. If you don't have this setting as enabled, you have to write the custom logic in either inside Lightning Flow, or you have to manually populate the billing day of month on the order. Okay. But as a good practice, it is always be enabled, but it varies like requirement to requirement. Okay. Now, just like CPQ, we have billing triggers as well. If you want that trigger to disable, you just have to toggle this setting. Okay. There is other setting we have. Okay. There will be one more session dedicated to this thing. You can see this proration type and partial proration type. Okay. Now, this proration is not same as CPQ. Proration helps in case of subscription products. This behaves differently with CPQ. Okay. Like if you have a CPQ and billing together, so CPQ proration behaves differently. Once you are going on to the invoice side, this will play like a crucial role. So I will discuss that in another session, like how these values are getting like impact your invoice amount basically. Okay. Now if I go here, now let's pick one of the opportunity. This is the opportunity. I'll create one quote here. Just United. See.
Dixit, yeah, can you zoom in somewhat? Yeah, much better. Yeah, thank you.
Oil and gas. Count is United Oil and Gas Corporation. I will mark this quote as primary, and we will have there should be a field started. Today subscription term is 12 months. You can say added months. So now I'm going to add one product. Okay. I'll show you a couple of things here. Add products. So first I will add This is one-time product. Yes, one-time product. Okay, this one. This is one-time product I have added. I'll click on save. Since there is no automation inside this system, so everything I'll be doing manually, but in real time you will have everything automated. Okay, now you see payment term is net 30. Okay, I'll click on this order checkbox, which will generate the order in the system. Okay. If I go to related, you will have this order. If I go to details, you will see billing day of month as 9, because with the package setting as just I explained, payment term is coming from the quote record. This field plays a crucial role in generating invoice with the second thing, like the invoice scheduler. Okay, I'll explain how it plays. Okay, now if I go to order product, there are a couple of fields you need to, like, remember on order products as well, because it helps in debugging. Okay, first thing is invoice run processing status. This has to be always pending billing. If you want to generate an invoice on order product, this has to be always pending billing. Okay, it gets changed by Salesforce billing once you have the invoice in the system. Okay, so now there are a lot of values. Okay, will not invoice means this order product doesn't transform into invoice line, and this value will be updated by billing itself. Okay, now let's suppose on your billing rule you have set it no, right? That generate invoice as no, and you are trying to generate an invoice for this order product, billing will set it as will not invoice. Okay, there are a couple of reasons for that. One is that invoice rule, and there will be another field as hold billing. Yeah, this one. Okay, now if this field is yes, you want this order product not to be get billed, means like not to have invoice, right? Then also this particular field will have value as will not invoice. If you have any error while generating an invoice, you will see the value as error. Nobody is going to touch this field. This is going to be updated by billing package manager automatically. Okay, in progress means you have generated the invoice, but invoice is in draft status. Either it's in draft status, either it's in initiated status. It is not posted to the customer. Posted means like it is not being sent to the customer. Okay, once it is sent to the customer, then Salesforce billing will update order product as complete. Okay, this is the kind of a life cycle we have. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll go to order. Make sure always order needs to be, like, activated if you have to generate the invoice. So first step is activate your order. I go back to the order product, not order product, the order. There is a checkbox bill now. If I check this, billing will automatically uncheck this after generating an invoice. Okay, that's why, like, the organization generally doesn't place this checkbox on the layouts. It will always be on the back end. Okay, and that's not a good practice to generate an invoice. Okay, one more thing is, to generate an invoice, there is a one important criteria. Other important criteria is this field, pending billing amount without tax. It should be always greater than 0. If it is 0, then you won't see invoice in the system. Okay, now let me click on save. You see this is unchecked by billing itself. Okay, apart from that, first thing, important thing is here is like billing account. I have generated this code under this account, but if I want invoice to be sent to some other account, I should have this field populated here. Then once you have invoice generated in the system, you will see that invoice is getting generated under this account. Okay, I go to the related, you will see an invoice. This happened with the bill now. It's always in draft status. Payment status is unpaid. Okay. Now, balance is $5,000. This is the like amount to be charged to the customer. Now, if I go to the status page, you see, once you change this status to posted, Salesforce billing first update this status to post in progress, then automatically it updates to posted. Okay. And you should not have invoice in the system having status as initiated. Once you generate an invoice and you go to the invoice record, you see the invoice status is initiated. That means your invoice generation process is failed. There is some error at the back end. Either your trigger, like maybe your custom trigger, is causing some issue, because what happens is once you generate an invoice, calculations happen at the back end. If your invoice generator is initiated, that means that calculation is not complete. Okay. Other thing is, if you have missed some important fields, or like maybe some, you know, key aspects are missing, if you see the status as error, right, then what will happen is there is a, you see this error log. Okay. If your invoice generation has some errors and your invoice status is value is error, then you can first place to check what error is, why this error status came, is this related object. You will see a error message clearly here. Okay, you will have a record here that will be generated by billing package. Okay. Now, error we got initiated, posted, post in progress. Now this is cancelled and rebuild. Okay. Let's suppose you have posted an invoice. Invoice has been sent to the customer. Okay. Now there is some mistake in the invoice. You can't change invoice record if it is posted. Okay. You have to cancel that invoice first. There is a button that says cancel and rebuild. I believe that is not present on my layout. Okay. That's why it is not visible. But there is a button called as cancelled and rebuild. So once you cancelled that invoice, rebuild means you have reissued that invoice. Cancelled means you have simply cancelled that invoice. Okay. Now these values will be updated by billing itself. We don't need to do anything. Okay. Now, so this is the invoice generation with respect to your bill now, checkbox. Okay. Now let me go to another opportunity. Okay, let's take this one. Now I'll create a code here. United Oil and Gas Corporation. Primary code started. One important thing I forgot to show you. You see, as I explained, invoice running processing status on the previous invoice is in progress, right? Okay, let me do one thing. This is invoice line. And if I go to the invoice, In order to post the invoice, you just simply need to update this field as posted. Okay, this is manual thing actually. Now you see post in progress. I'll refresh this out. This is posted. If I go to the order product again, now this was in progress, right? If I refresh this, it will be completed. That means the invoice is posted. Now you can't generate further invoice on this product. Now, why this is completed? Because this is one time. It is, if it is recurring product, then billing will automatically set this to as pending billing, because that is a recurring product. You will have multiple invoices for that. Okay. I close this out. Now we will see another way to generate the invoice in the system. Okay, I believe I haven't added any product. Now, go back to the products. Let me check which one is a recurring product. This is again. This is a recurring product. Okay. Warranty and maintenance plan. Okay. Click on add products. Select this. This. Click on save. Now you have the quote here, and I'll click on order. Click on save. Related, you will have one order. I will simply activate this order. Now, okay. One important thing which I also forgot to mention in the previous example is that, okay, I was keep on talking about that field, but I forgot to mention. Now you see, this is the field which I was talking about, right? I haven't populated legal entity on the previous example, but you still have that invoice, right? It can be possible, right? But if you are using the other way, the invoice scheduler way, you need to have this legal entity populated. Now, if I show you, you won't see billing treatment here, right? Billing rule is there, but billing treatment is not there. What's the reason that invoice was getting generated? Because billing rule populates automatically, but in order to populate the treatment, because every treatment is directly related with legal entity, you have to have this legal entity populated. So generally, what organization does is like they have a flow on before creation of order product, they populate this legal entity, and it generally comes from the account level. Okay, now, and you can see the finance book is also not here, right? And revenue schedule treatment will not be there as well. Okay, let me populate this first as US. Now, as soon as I'll click on save, you will see this as billing treatment. See, 10th September billing treatment. We have finance book as well. Okay. Now, other important thing here is, okay. Now, another important thing here is you have next billing date. There is another field as override next billing date. Okay. Let's suppose somehow in your system this next billing date is incorrect. Okay. But you want to have a correct date. And so what you will be doing is you will populate this field. If this field is populated in the system, billing will always take this field. It will ignore this field, next billing date. Okay. So next time the invoice will be going to generate it on the basis of this field. That is overwrite next billing date. Okay. So I have this order. I'll activate this order, but before activating, there is one important field for this second method, that is invoice batch. It is a pick list value. You can add your values as well. If you are using second method, that is invoice scheduler, you have to populate this field. What is the significance of this field? Once I'll create invoice scheduler, you will automatically understand. Let's suppose I create batch one. Okay, I'll click on save. Now I'll go here, mark this as activated. Now my order is activated. Okay. What I'll do is I'll go to invoice schedulers. I will create new invoice scheduler. You can give any name here. Now there is a type field. When you want this invoice scheduler to run, daily, weekly, monthly, or once. For the time being, I will select as once. Okay, it will run only once. Now you see there is a same field here, invoice batch. I'll select as batch one. Now, significance of this field is it will help you generate multiple invoices in the system. Like it will take multiple orders at a time. How it will take? With the help of this field. If your orders invoice batch matches with this field on the invoice scheduler, then you will see the invoice in the system, or basically invoice scheduler will pick this order to get invoice. Okay. Now, when you want this invoice scheduler to run, okay, start date time. So I'll select here 10, and for me, the time is, I will mark it as 10:15, let's suppose. Okay. There is a target date and invoice date. Okay. If you see the help text, date invoice will be created used to determine invoice due date. So once you have the invoice in the system, the invoice date, invoice start date will be this date. And once you add payment terms inside this date, then it will calculate the due date for you. Okay. Now target date. Target date is basically, as I told you, next billing date is the important factor in generating invoice. So which order products this invoice scheduler pick up, that depends upon this date. If your next billing date matches with this date, or it is before this date, then this invoice scheduler will pick all those order products. Otherwise, if your invoice next billing date, either override next billing date, is after this date, then this invoice scheduler won't pick those order products for the invoice. Okay. Now I'll click on save. If I go back quickly to classic schedulable jobs, you see this is the thing. Okay. I believe it is working in the other time zone. Okay. Wait, delete this. I believe I have set wrong time. Let me create another invoice scheduler. Or maybe I'll update this. Let's have another invoice scheduler in the system. Batch one. 13, 14, 12, 16. The right time. Click on save. Here. It is AM and it is PM. So just give me 2 minutes. I'll check. Maybe I'm confused with the time zones. I have submitted that invoice scheduler at 12:15 a.m. It is about to run at 12:17 a.m. Right, like just in 2 minutes. Okay. Now, Apex jobs we have. Let's see. This is in queued status. We just have to wait for 1 minute. Okay. Uh, let wait for 1 minute. Once that invoice scheduler will run, you will see a record of invoice runs. Inside invoice runs, you will have a related list of invoice. If you have any error while running this invoice scheduler, you will see that error here. Okay. So this is also a crucial object while debugging different errors inside billing. Okay. Now it is started. If I go to the Apex jobs, you will see total batch is 1. We have 1 order to be processed. It will take time. You see, 1 record is completed. Now, if I go back here, if I refresh this page, you will have invoice run in place. This is the invoice run. Okay. I open this invoice run object record. If I go to the related, this invoice has been generated, okay, by our invoice scheduler. Okay. Now, if I go to invoice lines, this is the order product. This is in progress. Okay. Now, let's suppose if I go here and if I simply mark this as posted. Okay. If I come here, refresh this page, this is again set to pending billing. Why? Because this is recurring, not one-time product. Okay. Now, another thing which I need to, yeah, if I go to related, if I refresh this out, let me open this invoice in Classic. Oops. Now, what was I was searching is this revenue thing, what we have configured, right? So as soon as I make that invoice as posted, you will have revenue schedule created. If you go to the revenue schedule, go to the related, you will have revenue transactions. Okay. Now, if I click on view all, you will see status as deferred. By default, it is deferred. It is automatically transferred into recognized by billing. Okay. I'm not sure how, like, on what basis these revenue transactions are getting generated on, like, like there are 4 records. That was, I still need to investigate this thing, like how I'm seeing 4 records. Okay. I know like it is monthly. Okay. And when I said when I post an invoice, then only this will happen. So this is basically controlled with that thing. We have that revenue. There is a field which controls this as well. Revenue recognition rule. If I go to the rule, we have this treatment. You see, revenue schedule creation action. So this is invoice posting I have selected. You want to generate revenue on order activation, you can select that as well. Okay. Uh, yeah, I believe that's it. Like for the demo side, if you have any questions, so I can take that. Aniket, are you there?
Yeah, hi Dikshit. Yeah, if anyone have like, you can just take a look on chat window. If
Yeah,
like couple of questions are there, so you can, if it is valid, so you can just giving the answers about that. Just look once chart. I think there are lots of chat is going. So
yeah, I'm checking. Yeah, I'm checking. So GL rules should be specified at product level configuration. Yes. Uh, not GL rule. I believe GL rule are not directly related to product. If you see, once you populate a legal entity on the order product level, then automatically it picks up. But as a Salesforce people, we don't need to worry about GL because generally, as I said, it happens in the financial system. So we need to mostly concentrate on revenue, tax, or billing. Okay. Uh, how to get the next session link? Do we need to join the any group? Now we will be posting on LinkedIn. Maybe next month I'll plan one another session. Okay. And okay. Yeah, you. I believe Aniket, we will get the recorded session link, right? Uh, I am not sure about billing milestones actually. I have heard this term first time. Uh, Billing milestones, I'm not sure actually. Since I'm like very new to billing and there's always a issue of like hands-on, you can say, videos, like, but we have a theory, but like if you don't have a hands-on experience, then it's hard to cover everything. Is there any difference we can see on records for deferred revenue and final revenue? Yeah, only the status, I believe. Status will change to revenue and the amount will be same as I explained in the like that basic example. Okay, yeah, we can together plan billing milestone. That's not an issue. When a legal entity is not selected and invoice generated, how is it considered? I believe that like invoice is there, okay, because billing rule was there. On billing rule, we have configured that generate invoice as yes. I believe because of that reason, invoice was in the place. But and also I have used that bill now checkbox as well. So can we have a quote without opportunity in Salesforce? Yes. As I've explained, there is a setting in the CPQ package. You can have a quote without opportunity. Looking for adding quote on lead. Yeah, you can add. Even people used to add quote under case as well. I have seen that as well. With the revenue recognition in CRM now, do we still need to integrate with ERP? Generally, people does integration with ERP, but they generally do for maybe because actually what happens is you can see invoices in the Salesforce, but the payment side or you can say revenue side or order fulfillment, these kind of things I have seen like people have different ERP systems. But as if I talk about revenue recognition, I don't think so. Like maybe we can like mostly people prefer inside Salesforce apart from that general ledger thing. Okay, that's the typically finance thing actually. So we can generally have revenue recognition in the Salesforce side as well. Generally, people used to leverage these objects inside Salesforce billing. Actually, it depends upon the requirement. Sometimes it is the invoice only, people want to see in the Salesforce. They don't want to see like payment and everything. So they have their you can say legacy systems on top of that. So do we have other questions?
Dikshit, I have one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, when we create, orders without opportunity, how will the renewable quotes and, future opportunities will be created or managed?
No, that is something like basically I believe, because I have not used this setting, but I have seen like it's a new setting, and you are very much right. Like if I talk about amendment opportunity or renewal opportunity, right? So basically, what happens is it is mostly related to new business opportunity. What I understand, you don't have a new business opportunity. You have a directly quote. From the quote, you have an order. From order, you have a contract, right? Now, contract is the centralized point to have renewal or amendment opportunity. It's not the new business opportunity. So you can still have renewal opportunity and amendment opportunity, but that setting I believe mostly indicates toward new business opportunity.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it is a package level setting, right? Once we do
Yes,
that, we can't change it at individual quote level, right?
yes. It says you can have quote without opportunity. It says like that. You can,
Yeah.
if you enable that setting, you can still have an opportunity and a quote. Like
Yes.
it
Yes.
doesn't say like if you have enabled that opportunity, the opportunity object will
You
be
can't
hidden.
create code.
Yeah,
Yeah. Right.
yeah.
Right. Yeah. Thanks. And one more, it's not like question, but can you please share that trailhead module link where you have shown different code line start dates are different and code start date is different.
Yeah, let me share.
Yeah, just name the, or else I will check, name the article name.
It's about next billing date, but I have shared in the chat itself.
Yeah, thanks.
Do we have any other question, or Aniket, we should wrap it up? Aniket, are you there?
think on mute, I guess. Aniket, you're on mute, I guess.
Do you have any trial mix, or if you can prepare one for billing? Uh, I went to Trailhead for the billing, but the Trailhead is actually good. I found it good for specifically for billing, but uh, you need to maybe like practice a bit in order to understand all flow. Then you can maybe it's better to have that billing super badge or advanced billing super badge. That is actually a good. I prefer billing super badge rather than advanced billing. Compared to billing, advanced is easy, but billing is actually a bit tricky in terms of the language they have written on the requirement. So that is good actually. It will cover like most of the like at least basic configuration or basic concepts inside billing. So I believe billing specialist is good to go. And then you can also look onto that partner learning camp. There is a billing academy on the partner learning camp. There's a lot of videos. I haven't seen that, but they are good actually. As much as I have heard, they are also good to go with.
So Dikshit, so where do we check this partner learning videos?
No, actually, it's not public. Actually, it is related with your organization. If your organization,
Organization. Yeah, yeah.
yes,
Yes, yes.
you can have the access within your organization, and
Oh.
they also have their certification exams as well. There is
Mm.
one exam for this is that is known as Revenue Cloud Consultant Accredited Credential. Okay. That covers basically your CPQ and billing. Okay, if you know the basic concepts, okay, because I recently cleared that exam. If you know these much basic concepts, you will be able to easily clear that exam because that is not that tough. Okay, they have like questions like once you post an invoice, which 3 objects or which 4 objects Salesforce billing updates. Okay, so once you post an invoice, of course, invoice is also getting updated. As I shown you all, like that order product, there is a field as invoice run processing status, right? That is also getting updated in return. So these kind of tricky questions they have actually. It's just like we need to have our basics clear, then we can, in spite of, like for me is like I don't have that much hands-on experience on the billing side, but I do have basic understanding of these concepts. Then also like you can see like I cleared that exam. So that is also you can.
Thank you. And about the revenue lines, the last slide, the last in the demo, the last
Yeah.
page where you were showing, right? I think it is because somewhere it is taken as a quarterly, and then you are doing a monthly generation, right? So that's why it has taken.
Yeah, that's why yeah, right, you are right actually. That's why I told, like I believe I have configured in a monthly manner. That's why I'm seeing for every month there is
Yeah.
a, if I would, if it would have been daily, or if it would have been a fully recognized configuration, then I believe you must have only one record for that, and it is fully recognized. I believe so.
Yes.
Yeah. Anything else? Like any other questions you have? Amit, we can wrap it up then.
Yeah, yes. If anyone don't have any questions, so we can wrap it up.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, Dikshit. Thank you all for joining. Yep. Right.